This is a presentation of Senior Stories, a collection of interviews with senior citizens from the Elvira Cisneros Center in San Antonio, Texas. This project is in collaboration with Haus Arts. To learn more about the services and programs that Haus Arts offers in San Antonio, go to BIHLHAUSARTS.org. That's BillHouseArts.org.
My name is Pam Levrie. They used to call me Pam. I was born in Smiley, Texas. The year?
Yeah, the year.
1943, April 16, 1943. So, yeah, that I, anyway. So, and I was married almost 62 years with my husband. We loved each other. 3 months before that, he died of COVID, 4 years ago. So I decided to come. My son was the one who said, Mom, and my girl, get out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Do something. And I remember they had closed the place where we used to, because all the churches here in San Antonio had a nutrition program. The St. Anthony Catholic Church, Sacred Heart, everybody all around San Antonio had a nutrition program. The only difference is that we used to cook there and everything else. Anyway, to make it short, my husband and I, I don't want to go back to that, but I was 15, he was 17 when we got married. And
that was here in San Antonio?
Here in San Antonio. And his name, should I say his name?
Yes. His
name was Lalo Levrie. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Since he just died.
Yeah, no, it's hard.
You know, and my son was the one said, and my daughter's, Mom, get out of the house. You've been here too long already. Just get out. And I remember they had opened this place 2 years prior, before they closed our place. And I said, okay, I know where. And I like it here.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy myself. I have good friends and everything. I'm crying.
No, that's fine. And your son and daughter, they live here as well?
Yes.
Okay. And what do they do?
Well, my son is a truck driver, and my daughter is retired. She worked in the bank, and my other daughter works, I don't know, CPS.
Okay.
But she lives in New Braunfels.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice area.
Yeah. And those are the 3 great kids. I've got 3 grandsons, 2 granddaughters. Now I've got 5 great-granddaughters, 2 great-grandsons. That's my life.
And how did you grow up?
My grandmother raised me. Okay. At that time, there was a lot of tuberculosis in those years back. My grandfather had died, and 2 months later, my father died at the age of 25 years old.
That's very young.
Very young.
So if your father died at the age of 25, he must have had you very early.
Yes, because my brother was already 4 years old, I believe, at that time. And like my mom says, it happened of the tuberculosis, you know. And what can I say about it? I didn't know him. So my mother was interested later on in the future. She remarried 4 or 5 years later, I think, or 6. And my grandmother said, leave the little girl with me. Take your son.
It was just you and your brother?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So my grandmother raised me with all my aunts and uncles. Because she had 8, but already, I believe 4 had been married already. And there's the other 4. Uncle Zeke, Uncle Lee, Allie, and Dora were left over. And I was raised by them.
Yeah.
And they taught me very well. That's my life.
Do you think you enjoyed a better life being raised by your grandmother as opposed if you had been raised by your mother?
No, I think it would have been the same. The only thing I was used to them because I'd been since I was born. I was there with my grandmother until my mother wanted to remarry because my mom lived there with her too. So I was used to calling her mom and my mother Ama Sofia. You know, to verify, which when I became bigger, 4 or 5 years older or whatever, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
But at that time, they moved to San Antonio. My aunts and my mom and my abuelita, and I came over here and went to school over here too. And I met my husband working. My aunt used to go work at a drive-in doing hamburgers, and they call it shadow driving.
Okay.
You know.
Like a movie driving or
a movie driving.
A movie driving.
And the cars would be parked and the meters were there, and they put the meter on the window so they could hear the music, the voice and so forth. Ya no hay nada de eso.
Yeah, I don't think there's any left.
You know?
I would be surprised.
So and I was young, and I told my mom, and I said, Ma, yo quiero ir a trabajar. Pues déjame ver a ver si Herminia, because her name was Mimi. Le digo a mi tía Herminia que si puedo. Dice, pregúntale si necesitan a alguien que puedes, te vas con ella y ella te trae. Le dije, está bien. So I started working there, and that's where I met my husband.
And what was he doing there?
He was peeling potatoes.
Okay.
Because his brother was a manager of the drive-in.
Okay.
So a year later I met him, and I guess we fell in love or whatever, you know, and we were married January the 9th, 1959. Until 4 years.
2019 was, 2020.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Yeah, he died on August the 17th, 2020.
It's very recent.
Yeah. Yes.
What was it? Do you find sharing that?
Well,
was it embarrassing?
No, it's not embarrassing. Everybody, the reason I changed my name at that time was because my center, they couldn't call. My name is, a nickname was Pampe, Pampe. So, como había muchos americanos para allá, donde estaba el nutrition program, we can't pronounce your name. You know what? Take off the PE, we'll put Pam. And that's how I started with Pam. That's why. And it's been on and on and on. Not even here know that I have a nickname. But my family calls me, Pampe, where are you going? Oh, but yeah, okay.
Yeah. But essentially, Pam is also your nickname.
Yeah, it's a nickname too, you know. But, you know, I mean, in Espanol, my grandma used to, ¿dónde estás? And when she would get mad, she would say, Palmira, ¿dónde estás? Aquí estoy, mamá. Okay. That's life.
If you could go back to any age, what age would it be and why? Like, what was the best age that you were at where you were just like, it was the best time of your life?
Oh, my best time of my life. I guess when I married my husband.
So, and you were in your 20s?
15.
15?
And he was 17.
And he was 17. So you were married at 15 and 17? Or you met at 15 and 17?
Yeah. I met him about a year and a half before that. I was a little chunky girl.
Oh, so you were 14?
Actually, when I met him, I was 14.
Yeah, and he was 16. And then you got married at 15 and 17.
And then in January the 9th, 59, and February he became 18. And on April became 16.
And it was just out of curiosity, because I know in today's society and culture, that would be like, oh my God, you can't do that. You know,
right. Exactly. There's no.
Yeah. Was that widely accepted back in those days to get married at that age? Was it accepted by your families?
Yes.
Okay.
And the reason I think it is because they knew, my aunt knew my boss, that was his Lalo's brother, for so many years. And he was very respectful and he wasn't a Catholic, he was I don't know if he was Baptist or whatever religion, but he was a very religious person. And that's why, I guess my mom must have asked Aunt Minnie. Dice, pues está muy bueno el muchacho. No, okay, whatever. Dijo, está bien, si es lo que... Y the first thing, I hate to say that, the first thing he said, ¿qué hicieron? ¿De qué? At that time, we people at that age, I don't know. And me, I was too ignorant in thinking of other things.
Yeah.
Exactly. My husband the same way. We respected each other. There was no hanky-panky in between. We just loved each other and wanted to get married.
And so it was respected and accepted by your families. But how, once you got married, because that's still really young,
well, how
was that viewed overall by society? Like when you went out and they saw you holding hands, did they think? They
didn't think too much about it.
They didn't think too much?
No. Okay. Because I, at that time, looked much older than 15 or 16. You know what I mean? And I've got pictures of my wedding there. But anyway, and my father-in-law, my husband's mother had passed away. He was 10 years old, and he raised my my husband. And when we got married, let me tell you something. He asked me again twice if I wanted to marry. You know, I'm going to show you where we're going to live temporarily.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. And it was a little room, 24 by 24, in the back. The property was his, my father-in-law's property, but it was where he lived. There's no electricity, no water, no gas, no nothing. Just a wooden stove and a stove of butane and a little table and a bed and a couch and a refrigerator that they would put ice. And he asked me, do you still want to marry me? I said, yes.
And when did you have your first children?
That one was real quick. We got married in January, October the 7th, the little girl was born.
So you had your daughter at 16.
At 16. 16. And then the other one 5 years later, and then the other one 5 years later.
But that was still really young, because 16.
Yes.
And then 21.
And to raise her on that little room, my husband used to take me to my sister-in-law that had water, gas, and everything after he went to work. Before he went to work, I'm going to go leave you at my sister's house. It's all right. Okay. And that's what we do. That's my life story.
Yeah. Was there, I mean, I know you've talked about your husband passing away recently, but and then of course your marriage and meeting your husband, but was there a particular incident in your life that changed you either for the better or worse, that just totally changed your perspective on things, that totally changed your viewpoint, how you thought about stuff?
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. Men are men. Okay?
Yeah.
Men are men. I think I don't know. But sometimes women know about things that they think men don't think that we know. I don't know for sure if he had a little affair or not, but for a little while we were in little arguments and things like that. But we loved each other. And we were able to work it out.
How did that change your perspective overall on men or on relationships?
Well, I see it this way. Sometimes women are at fault. And sometimes men are at fault. But you have to, if you really love each other, you have to work out, if you still loved him and if he still loves you. Not say, I'm going to divorce you, this and that, blah, blah, blah. No, you need to work it out, especially if you have a family. So your family can understand this is what.
Did you feel like your marriage was strengthened in a way after that?
After that, yes, because we were able to, years back, I think men were more macho men. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you think, like compared to today, you mean?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. You know, pero las mujeres ya cambiaron mucho ahorita estos años. But at that time, it was different. Women had to stay home or whatever, you know. And like I said, I lived in that little room for 3 years. Then my brother-in-law, he was a wonderful man. He said, we're gonna move your house. In front of the yard, they built us a house. And that house still stands there on Darby. A big old house.
And when you say men were more macho back then, in your opinion, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Like, compared to how men are today, do you think men today need more masculinity? Or do you like the fact that men today are talking about their feelings and are what most people might call a little bit more feminine?
I think in my books, I think men, like you say, should talk more about it than keep it inside. You know, it's better to, look, this is what's going on, or explain to us instead of just keeping it quiet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you would have preferred that your husband sometimes opened up more.
Exactly.
and said, "Hey, I'm feeling like this."
Exactly. And that's the way I think men should be.
Yeah.
Instead of just keeping it to themselves. Maybe women are different nowadays. That is, you're going to do it, or you don't. I don't know. Everybody's different. Everybody's different.
Yeah. What are you most proud of in life?
More proud of my life?
No. What's the proudest moment of your life? Like, if you were to look back at everything, what is maybe the proudest moment of your life, or what are maybe the 3 proudest moments of your life?
Well, my proudest, as far as I know, that we were a very happy family before, he died at the age of 79 years old. And in between, after just that argument, the way back we had changed completely. And that's wrong with women nowadays, or men, that they don't try to talk to each other. What is the problem? What did I do wrong, or what did he do wrong?
Yeah. Do you feel
especially if you have kids, because the kids are the ones going to be suffering, not so much the women and the men. That's the way I look at it.
Do you feel like your husband opened up more as he got older?
Yes.
Around what age would you say that he really began to open up, that he's starting to soften a little bit?
About in his 50s.
50? Okay. So he died at 79. So for the last 29 years of his life, he kind of changed.
Yes.
Yeah. Would you say, looking back, that because of how he changed, that the last 29 years of his life compared to the first years that you were married, it was easier to get along with him those last 29 years?
I think so, because the kids were already grown up and we were the only ones together at that time. At the beginning, well, the kids need this, blah, 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 as they're going to school, or they're going to go to a party, or they're going to do whatever. And thank God that my kids, I don't have to say, they were wonderful. Thank God they, years back, the man, my son was the youngest, and my daughters were the oldest. Like I say, Patty, and then my Sally, and then Stephen, they're 5 years apart, each one. And like right now, Stephen and Patty are more communicated that they're 10 years apart. My daughter Sally, yes, but since she lives in New Braunfels, Mom, like a little while ago, Mom, are you all right? I'm fine.
Yeah. Is there anything that you wish you would have known when you were a teenager? That, like, if you were to go back with everything you know now, back to your 15-year-old self, or back to even before you met your husband?
Well, I think if I would have known more about, like I said, at that time, parents didn't talk too much about men or little girls or things like that. My aunts were not even my aunts or my uncles, And I'd say if I would have talked to them as I was younger, I wouldn't have gotten married so young.
You think you would have waited?
I think I would have waited.
But you don't regret it?
No, I don't. Because I had a wonderful man.
If you had a little bit more education about relationships, or what they call sex education in high schools now, do you think you might have waited until you were in your 20s?
In the 20s.
Okay.
Because I think that young, you still don't know nothing.
Yeah.
My husband and I learned together.
What was the age, because you got married so young, and because you had kids so young, you essentially had to become an adult.
Yes.
Very young. But at what age would you say, even after getting married so young and having kids so young, that you really felt like you were an adult?
Well, let me put it this way. I was 16 when my first one baby. Second one, 21. Third one, 26. I had a wonderful man, but he says, this is it. No more kids. So it was up to him.
Yeah.
And he took care of us, because he came from a very big family. His sister had 12, 13 kids. His brother also had 12. You cannot give them what they need for having so many children. And I don't know now how men work on those things, if they still think like that or not. I have no idea. But it's better to see, if you're bringing a child into this world, you want to give her the best you can.
Yeah. You want to have in other words, you're saying have the amount of children that you can provide for.
That you can provide for. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Instead of just because one. No.
Yeah.
I don't know now they're doing that or not. I have no idea. But I know that my husband always didn't like, and he was the baby of the family, of all 8, because there were 8, 4 girls and 3 boys and him 4. Anyway, so.
If there was 2 15-year-old girls sitting here with us right now, and they said, Pam, can you give us some advice about growing up, or can you give us, or I'm in love too, can you give us some advice? What would you tell those 2 15-year-old girls?
I would tell them, that's fine, but for them to respect them.
Respect themselves or respect the men?
Respect themselves.
And if they, because I think a lot of people, especially young people, don't really know what self-respect is.
Yes.
In terms of how a young woman should respect themselves, what advice would you give them?
I would say, because boys are boys, or men, whatever, they're going to try to see what they can get. Right?
Yeah.
So if there is something like that, say no. I can't do that. When I'm ready, will know that we have to be married before this happens.
So you believe that before anything happens, people should be married?
Yes.
And do you believe that 2 people can truly know how much they love each other without being intimate first?
Yes.
Okay.
They can. And like I said, now after 25, 30, it's up to them. But at that age, because they're smart enough at that age to what they really want, but at that age, you have to wait.
Yeah.
They're too young. I thank the Lord and God that He gave me a husband that knew how to take care of me and my kids without having so many kids.
Yeah. But not every 17-year-old can do that. I mean, I would say most 17-year-olds can't do that.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, most 20-year-olds can't do that. A lot of 30-year-olds can't do that. So.
Now, after you get certain age, well, it's up to you.
Yeah.
Because you know everything.
Yeah.
But as young, no. And I learned a lot from my program that I had, the nutrition program of the seniors, that when they would talk to me and say, Pam, I've got this granddaughter, this and this and this, tell them this and this and this, because it happened to me. I fell in love with a man, and I thank God that He gave me a wonderful man.
Yeah.
If he would have been another, we would have been divorced a long time way back.
Now let's switch it. If you had 2 15-year-old boys here,
okay,
what would you tell those 2 15-year-old boys?
I would tell them to try to, if you really love that girl, respect her. Respect her on what she wants, because she will be a wonderful wife.
And what would you tell them with regards to being macho? If they think, oh, I need to be macho and I need to do this.
It's kind of difficult on that thing, because men always think they're machos, no matter what age. But if they really love that person, they'll try to change themselves.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
And is there any particular story of your life besides what we've already spoken about that you enjoy telling people?
Not really, because I always was very happy with my husband and my kids. We would go, when we became old, it was just me and him, The kids got married, and he would go out, I would go out, we both go out, We trusted each other. If you cannot trust each other, then there's no really a relationship.
Yeah. And you are quite the fashionista. You're very well dressed, and I've noticed you have a lot of nice jewelry on, turquoise jewelry. Just, can you tell us a little bit about your style? Like, have you always dressed this way? Is this something?
After my kids grown up and everything, I always would dress up. because my husband liked to see me dressed up. So, and years back, he had told me, not lately, years back, he would tell me, if I die, I want to see you that way. No te quiero ver toda chamagosa, toda, how old ladies are, que no se quieren vestir porque this and that, And I tell you, well, who's saying that you're going to die? What about me?
Yeah.
I told him that. He says, no, babe, it depends on what the Lord wants. Yes, exactly. And I remember what he used to tell me. And that's why I dress like this, because I want him to see, wherever he is, that I'm dressed as his ways.
And you dress very nice. And I noticed that you have...
He used to buy me a lot of jewelry.
Oh, jewelry.
Coats.
Yeah.
I mean, they tell me, you got me coats? I said, yeah. I said, but he used to buy way back, and I'd take care of my clothes. I said, I wasn't one of those that, I would hang them up and do whatever. I said, that's the bottom line.
And you're dressed kind of Western today. Is that generally the way you dress, or do you kind of have different styles?
Well, no, actually, I'm always dressed like a Western because I live out in the country.
Okay. So you like dressing that country style? Yes,
boots and everything.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I have tennies, I've got shoes. Years back, I used to wear big old high heels and so forth. I think I would break my legs now.
Yeah.
I broke my wrist, I would say, about a little over a year. I was a little plump at that time, but I can't seem to gain weight anymore. Estoy muy delgadita y I guess that's what it is. Y me dice my daughter, Mom, you got so many clothes. I said, I'm waiting to see if I gain back to 10 or 8. So if I don't, by next year I don't, I'm giving them away. Okay. That's it.
Is your daughter yours?
She's in San Antonio.
Oh, no, but can she wear your clothes?
No.
Oh, no.
No. My daughters are a little more plumpy. Well, as we get older, we shrink ourselves. And that's the thing. And no, they don't wear my clothes. They know, but they'll say, "You want no más para que los quiero."
Yeah.
So I have a man that sometimes I give him some clothes so he can take wherever to family or whatever. But lately I haven't done any. And I say, well, because the other day they asked me, Pam, you want to dress? It won't fit me. I say, okay, I won't do it. And that's it. That's my life story.
Thank you very much, Pam. I appreciate you speaking to me. Is there any last words you would like to say? A parting phrase, a motto that you have for life? Well,
I just thank the Lord that I'm here at my age. I try to keep active because I live by myself out in the ranch. I've got my dogs, I've got goats, so forth.
So that's another advice you can give to young people: is stay active.
Stay active.
So that when you are 80, you can still be a healthy looking, active person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't have to be 50 or 60 or 70. You can keep on going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And eat right. If you're hungry, eat. If you don't hungry, don't eat.
Yeah.
That's what I'm like. And I'm always eating, so I don't know where it's going, but that's the problem, And they say, Mom, you're always, I say, yeah, but the Lord wants me this way, I guess I'll stay this way, as long as I keep active.
I have noticed that people who tend to live in the country often do look younger and seem more healthier than people who live in the city.
Yes, because in the city, they don't move themselves. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
They get home, they take off their shoes, and they're relaxing.
Yeah. And they sit for 6 hours.
Exactly. Yeah. And at home, that's the first thing I do. Take off my clothes, go feed my dogs, walk this, put water in the buckets, clean it, and so forth. Vamos para adentro.
Yeah. So, and with the animals, that's a good at least 2.5 hours of work afterwards. Yeah.
Exactly.
So everybody should just move out to the country. Well, but if everybody does that, then it wouldn't be the country anymore.
Well, the thing is, it's almost, they're building across the street from where I live and on Highway 181, because I live on Highway 181, but I have a little road on the side, and I live in the back, and I've got 2 houses in the front, a building of a house, and I've got neighbors way in the back, so I've got neighbors way in the back, but in front, the other side of the highway, they're building something, and the taxes go up.
Yeah. I assume that it's somewhat disheartening and to see the amount of building that's gone on, because especially you having been in San Antonio all your life, from growing up in the 50s and 60s and raising your children here to now, I'm sure there was a lot more wilderness around San Antonio than there is now.
Exactly.
Like, how much have you seen it changed? I mean, in what areas were there wilderness now? Or
well, actually, as far as I'm seeing right now, when I leave the house about 7:15 from my house in the morning, I have to keep 15 minutes in waiting. When there's a light on Foster Road and there's a light further up, cars are all the way almost to the light.
And that never used to be the case.
Never used to be.
Yeah.
Is that a lot of people are moving out to the country now. Before, you would see 3 or 4 cars. Now, you see 30, 40, 50 cars.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll back up and they're blinking for me to. But I'm afraid that they might, all of a sudden, I just wait. I want to be sure.
And I'm sure you used to be able to drive and see nothing but woods. And now you drive and you see gas stations, mini mall.
Oh, yes. There was no restaurants way back, further down. There's a Taqueria restaurant, a dollar store, fireworks things. Then the gas station, you take 35. I'm going to take 35 or you take Presa. I live in between that. And when I'm under Presa, I see en el puente arriba, bumper to bumper cars que todavía están en la mañana, que hay muchos que van tan...
And of course that wasn't there at all, but so all that.
We moved down there in 1974,
and there's none of that there. So all of that nature and woods,
they're all gone.
All gone.
They're all gone.
That's kind of sad.
It is, because where I live, there's a junkyard next door, houses further down, and so forth, and then over here too, a trailer park que hicieron way back. No había todo eso.
So when you moved there, it was your house and nothing but woods.
Nothing but woods.
Nature.
Not even in the back had neighbors.
Yeah, and now it's neighbors, a junkyard, 10 taquerias.
Taquerias, everything. Everything. Yeah, puede uno andar. I can go to the store. It's about a block and a half away, or less than a block. It's called the meat market. It used to be Mr. and Mrs. Webb's store, and then it turned to something else. And now, I think it's been 3 or 4 years that they made it una grocery store mexicana.
I mean, it's convenient, but it's ugly. Like, you've given up all that peace and serenity and quiet and tranquility for a taqueria. And
now like I said, they're building something across the street.
Yeah.
And then the other side also, I say, oh my God, what are they building?
Yeah.
So further down, when I go to Almondor, the church, they're building all over in the highway. We don't know if there's going to be an H-E-B, Walmart. I have no idea.
Yeah, which just means more traffic.
Yeah, more traffic.
Too bad.
But that's life.
Yeah. Well, Pam, thank you very much.
Okay, well, thank you. I hope everything turns out good, whatever I said, because it's the truth.
Thank you for listening to Senior Stories, in collaboration with Haus Arts and the Elvira Cisneros Center in San Antonio, Texas.